Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Sandy Adams, and I am your host for this exciting new series, Community Spotlights, produced by the McKenzie banner. Today's presenting sponsor is Tri-County Publishing, located in McKenzie, Tennessee. Tri-County Publishing is the place for all of your customizable business products, and yes, even those for your personal use. Today, I'm excited to speak with Mona Martin Batchelor. Mona is the former librarian at McKenzie High School and a current online instructor with Vipkid. She's also an avid hiker, a photographer, an interior designer, and basically an overall just Wonder Woman. So please welcome today's guest, Mona Martin Batchelor.
Hi, Sandy. I hope all of those titles are unofficial. I am a librarian, so I can stand by that one. I have the paper to prove it. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for being on this interview today. Mona and I've already interviewed her once before for my podcast, but she is a highlight in the McKenzie community. And I just, you are an avid social media person. You are on Instagram, you're on Facebook, and I'm just amazed by all the things that you do. I really am.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you.
So let's really get into what is your current position. Let's just talk about that for just a second, and then we'll talk about that later on in the broadcast.
Sure. I am an online ESL, English as a Second Language instructor with Vipkid.
Yes, and after the break, we'll really get into everything about that job. You did grow up in McKenzie, correct? And graduate from McKenzie High School?
I did. 1975. I'm old.
No, you're not. You're not old. What was it like for you growing up in McKenzie? Like, what were some of your favorite memories of growing up in McKenzie?
It was a great childhood. I lived in the country, of course. I'm actually a Mckenzian, rural Route 38201 girl, but I live in Weakley County. So there are lots of us. That's why the banner serves the Tri-County area, because there are many of us who live in McKenzie, but we're actually in one of the other counties. I'm just over the line and lived in the country and loved it. It was a great childhood. I wouldn't say, farm girl, maybe. Tomboy for sure. Yeah. I have always loved being outside. I've always loved helping. My dad had no sons, so I followed him everywhere. And it was a fun thing, to grow up in the country, but to live in a small town. McKenzie was kind of like a Mayberry back then.
Sure, it was.
Pretty small, and safe. It was a safe place to live. We didn't have a lot of issues. Still probably don't have a lot of issues.
Right.
Because we haven't grown in size that much since then. But I loved it. There are lots of good memories.
It's interesting. I was a Route 2 girl, and I actually lived just over into Henry County, just over the county line. But yeah, you're right. Even with the expansion of Bethel and all of that, McKenzie really still is basically kind of around 5,000 people and around the same size. When did your love of photography start? Because you're a big photographer.
Well, I love to take photographs, but I've always had a camera of some sort. I don't care if it was a little Instamatic camera, whatever it was. I've always taken pictures and enjoyed it. Probably about 1995, I had wanted a 35 millimeter camera, and digital cameras weren't the thing back then, but they were coming. They were on the horizon. But I had a friend who was having a yard sale, and she said, I have something I think you'll want, $35. And it was an AE1 film camera, 35 millimeter. And I bought it, and I played and I played and I played until I figured out what I was doing. Not very mathematical, but I figured out what I was doing with it. And then probably about 5 years later, I bought a Rebel XS.
About the year 2000.
Around 2000.
Yes.
Yeah, around there. And then about 5 years later, I progressed up to a T4, T5i, something like that. And then about 5 years later, I progressed up again. So I have a 6D is what Mark II is what I shoot now. And pretty much that's an all around camera for me. I can shoot the birds and the deer. And, when we're hiking, I can carry it. It's a little heavy, but I can carry it with the lens I shoot. And I enjoy it. But I will tell you, I have another good teacher friend, and he's an excellent photographer. And he said, "What's your favorite camera?" My favorite camera is the one I have on me.
Yes, that's, people ask me that a lot too. And a lot of times it's just my iPhone that I'm taking out when I'm not photographing clients. But yeah, you're exactly right. It's whatever you have with you. The other thing is, I've had people tell me, well, that camera takes really good pictures. No, it's the person that knows how to use it.
I may have said this to you before, but I forget which professional photographer it was. One of the mid-century modern guys said he was in New York, and he was at this woman's lovely rooftop apartment, and everything just perfect. And they were at the dinner table, and the woman said, "What camera do you use? Because it takes great pictures." And he said, "What stove does your cook use? Because it cooks really good food." And she said, "I never thought of it that way." But you and nobody starts out perfectly. Well, I guess some people do. Some people are gifted, but you learn more about composition. You learn more about settings. You learn more about how to use a camera. But some of my pictures that have been favorited the most came from this phone. So
exactly,
just depends on how you use it. Yeah, it's a tool.
Actually, my current headshot that I have on all my social media is with my iPhone. I actually took it of myself with my iPhone.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, it really is, and lighting plays a big part in that. Let's talk about, how is Mckenzie? We talked about size-wise, Mckenzie hasn't really changed, but let's talk about other aspects of how do you think Mckenzie has changed since you were a little girl versus now?
Well, I thought about this before, and that's kind of difficult to say, Sandy, because it may be that I've changed too.
That's exactly right.
It may be that I've grown up and I've changed. There are so many childhood memories that I have. Memories of the Halloween carnival, memories of Christmas, so many sweet memories of both of those times. And this, I probably shouldn't even say this, but I was the first Yuletide princess in Mckenzie.
I didn't even know there was one.
It turned into Little Miss Mckenzie, but it started, the JC started it in 1960. Oh, I don't see the trophy. It's sitting around here somewhere.
Do you have the trophy?
I do. Yeah, it's around here somewhere, but I don't see it. 62, maybe.
60.
That would be right. 62 or 63. I was the first one. The JC started that, and Frank Ridley was king and I was queen. And that kind of gives you this huge sense of community, because that was something big for a 6-year-old to take in. And I was always around a lot of people. I'm an old soul. I followed my parents everywhere, and so I always knew a lot of people in the community. But that was fun to get to ride in the Christmas parade. That was back before the jewelry store had crowns. So my crown was paper. It fell apart. I think I finally let it go because it fell apart. But it was a fun thing. But that and Christmas time was such a fun thing in Mckenzie. There were so many wonderful memories that I have of Christmas. We've talked about these before.
We have, but I didn't know about the Little Miss Yuletide. I didn't know about that.
I'll have to share that. That picture's on my Facebook. I'll have to share it with you.
You'll have to do that.
It was fun.
So now let's talk about, you've been a librarian with McKenzie High School. I don't think people really think of librarians as being exciting, especially the kids that don't read. But how did that all come about? How did you get into being a librarian?
Well, I've always loved the library. From the time I was a child, my mother belonged to the Green Hill Home Demonstration Club, and Weakley County would send the bookmobile to the on Home Demonstration Club Day. And I loved nothing more than going to the bookmobile. But I also loved going uptown to the back of the police station. That was a little
What was
intimidating the first time you go in.
what's the back of the police station?
The library used to be at the back of the police station. It's where United Neighbors is now. That was the police station.
I did not know
And they had a bank of like walnut wall cabinetry with glass. And you would go around and down a hallway and back to the right. And Miss Hines ran the library in a little room. And we always went to the library. That was an important thing. My mother felt that we always should go to the library. Then in elementary school, I worked in the library for Miss Bryant. I worked in the library in middle school for Miss Edwards. And I'm trying to remember.
I don't even know who the librarian was when I was in school. I have no
Miss
idea.
Waddle. Miss
Oh,
Mary
that's
Elizabeth
right.
Waddle.
That's right.
And
That's
I
right.
think at some point I worked in the library, but I can't recall. I can't exactly. I have some faint memories of that. Then I went to work in the library at Bethel as an adult.
Wow.
And I worked there for 5 years, and then went on to do other things. But when it came time to go back and get a master's degree and decide something I might want to fill up 10 years with, I went back and got a master's in library science.
What was your undergraduate in?
Speech and theater.
Speech and theater. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's fascinating. Now, I'm going to brag on you just a little bit because you won a big award. You won a big award, a state award as a librarian, didn't you? I'm correct? Yes?
I did. Okay. I had served in 2014 as the president of the Tennessee Association of School Librarians. And maybe in 17 or 18, I can't remember now, at their conference, they awarded me the Clara Hasbrook Award. And listen, I stand on the shoulders of giants. Miss Clara Hasbrook is still living, and she actually was the start of the Tennessee Association of School Librarians, and a fantastic librarian, a wonderful person. She lived on the top of a hill in East Tennessee, Southern Tennessee, Signal Mountain.
Yes.
That area. And not many years ago, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, their house burned one winter. And there was snow and ice on the ground, and they could not get up the mountain to save her home.
Oh my God.
But she took it in stride, and she was the sweetest person. She had never won the Clara Hasbrook Award before, and we gave it to her that year because she deserved to win her own reward. But yeah, I cherish that. I really do. It's very important to me, and kind of the coup de grace in the school librarian world in Tennessee. Yeah.
So just a quick thing. How do you think librarians overall, I mean, especially when the kids are younger, but how do you think they can creatively change a kid's life as a librarian?
Well, I think just opening children up to being aware of literature and being aware what is available. But not only that, when you're dealing with children, I think being a librarian is very, very, very important, but it is secondary to being a teacher.
Right.
Because without a teacher's heart, you're not a very good librarian. You have to have a teacher's heart. The library has been traditionally, in my experience, when I was a librarian, a soft place to fall for a lot of kids. And we were always welcoming. I told someone just this week, someone said to me once, "Yeah, but you love them all." And I said, well, sometimes I feel as if us being kind to children, us as teachers being kind to children, may be the only recognition or the only love they see that day or that week or that month or that year. So I always felt it was important to recognize children. you know. I tried to look beyond the talk, you know, oh, this is a bad kid. This kid's wild. This kid does this. This kid does that. This kid's weird, you know. Yeah, this kid was weird too. So I understand how it is to be different. You know, I felt like I was a little different and probably misunderstood. You know, sometimes I was told in high school that I was not college material. So
I totally can relate to that.
I carried that with me for several years, until I finally made up my mind that it was incumbent upon no one but me to prove that wrong. And I did.
That's very true.
And so, you know, I think librarians and teacher librarians and every other kind of teacher, they're kind of the first line of defense against the world.
That's true. Okay, let's pause here for a commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk to Mona more about her job with Vipkid and teaching virtually to kids in rural China. So now a word from our sponsor. Welcome back. Now let's get into your job with Vipkid. And so tell us more about Vipkid and kind of the structure of your job.
Sure. Vipkid has been around for 8 years, maybe 8 years. They were the first. There are many companies now that have a teaching platform for international instruction.
Right.
But they were the first. They were founded by Cindy Nee, and she has been recognized with most every American award that you can imagine for entrepreneurs. But it is a platform that is designed, and it's iterated. It's gone through several iterations, but it's a platform that's designed for us to connect pretty much like you and I are doing, to teach live online. The only issue with Vipkid that I have is that we are right now 13 hours apart.
Right, exactly.
Which means if I teach them at bedtime, it's 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning for me. Right. Okay. I am not a person who rolls out of bed ready to go. You know, it takes me a minute to get my coffee and to get a face on, because you have to put some kind of face on, I think, and get myself ready. But I have done it because I had children that I absolutely fell in love with. I have just signed my 6th contract with Vipkid, and I enjoy the people. I've learned so much about the culture, so much about their country, and I enjoy everything that I do with them. And it's been a good experience for me. I wouldn't say it's huge money, but you can make from, say, $15 to $22 an hour teaching for Vipkid. Just there are several factors. Depends on how many classes you teach. And I am a low volume teacher. I don't teach many classes per week. I have taught more in the past, but after you retire means something, you know. It means you're tired and you want to do other things. It means to do what you want, when you want, if you want. So
exactly.
That's the good thing about being self-employed. I can adjust my schedule like I want.
Sure.
I know I had told you that this has all been, well, primarily within China. Some teachers teach to students in Taiwan, and then some Chinese children live in Europe and other places across the globe. So they teach there, but they're all native Chinese children. As of October, Vipkid joined forces with a company in America called Book Nook. And Book Nook is a remediation program for lower level elementary students where they get help with reading in a fun way. It has games, it has stories, has all different kinds of things. And now they say Book Nook is powered by Vipkid. It is an after-school program right now, but about to be a summer program, and then we'll kick in again next year after school, next fall after school. And I am contracted with Book Nook too, with Vipkid/Book Nook. So I'm just waiting for an assignment there. That will be from 3 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that's a little different. That's a great time of the day for me. I'm wide awake then. So
yeah, sure.
That's a good time. So I'm looking forward to that.
So let me ask you this question, because there may be people out there saying, how can you teach to children in China? Do you need to know Chinese or Mandarin or anything? And like, how does that work? So I think there's probably going to be some questions about, because I don't think you speak Chinese or Mandarin.
No, I don't. Well, I mean, I have probably this many words that I know how to use properly. But usually when I say something, they're like, that's right. So they enjoy it. They enjoy when I speak what little bit I know. But no, it's very simple, because the reason people are paying for North American teachers is because they want our native English dialect. That's what they want. Children in China already speak English. They start taking English in class from 5 years old. So they already know the language, they know the grammar, the mechanics of the grammar, and they know lots of different things. They don't necessarily know how to speak it like a native, though. And that's what you pay for with Vipkid.
You know, that's interesting, because I did my student teaching, I did part of it in Germany. And the reason I didn't know any German, but they wanted us student teachers to come into the high schools, because like there, the kids are taught English from an early age, but all of their instructors know British English, and they wanted that's the elite thing. I don't know why, because we have horrible grammar, but they wanted to learn American English and all of the slang. So they used to come over to I lived with a host family, and the kids would come over after school just to sit there and have me talk about anything, so that they could pick up that American English.
Right. And many of their English teachers at school do have a British delivery. They do. And in fact, even some of our curriculum was originally designed by British professionals, education professionals. So there are some things within the curriculum that are slightly British, but that's okay. We work around those things. But as far as correctness, yes, we try to be correct. We're teaching grammar, so we have to use proper grammar. I would hope we don't have teachers using poor construction, but we may have. That happens sometimes, I think. But it does require a bachelor's degree and some experience working with children. So for the most part, I feel as if we have pretty good teachers teaching. I do see some things on Facebook comments that make me wonder sometimes, but I just walk on by, just leave it alone, because I think maybe, I have a family member who was an English teacher, and she said, well, we have home language, we might say fixing to at home, but we don't say fixing to at school,
That's right.
So she said there's home language and then there's proper language. So hopefully that's the case.
I'm going to drop a link into the comment box, and if you are interested in learning more about Vipkid or possibly teaching for Vipkid, there's a special link in there, and I hope I did that right. Let me do that just again. There's a special link in the chat box that you can connect, and that's a referral from Mona. You do have to have a college degree and have at least 1 year of experience with working with children, but it's a great opportunity for teachers out there that maybe are looking for some extra work, or maybe people that are kids that are graduating from college and they've already done a couple of years of something. So it's a great opportunity for them out there.
Exactly.
What,
And everything from camp counselors to,
right,
you know, different, just experience being around children.
right.
Now, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So what are your plans for the rest of this year? Because
Well,
you do a lot of hiking. Like I was,
we
yeah.
do. We hike, but since last fall, we've actually been doing a lot of work here on the farm. So we get our hiking itch scratched by doing that. But now Steve did mention something about hiking this weekend, so I think we may do that. But we have spent lots of time. You know, I have found once again that I enjoy driving a tractor. It's a lot of fun, and we do lots of hard work. We've made a difference. It's kind of fun
Right,
to bring it back, and you know, over the years when you're busy and you're raising children and you kind of lose interest and you just
right.
get the hay cut and leave it at that. But we have someone really good who takes care of the actual hay process and the hay making, and then we're trying to reconstitute fences and clear out fence rows and do things like that. So that's another fun thing that we do.
So for people, and I just popped the link to the website there as well, but if you can use the link in the chat box in the comment sections.
Yeah.
The other thing that for any of you that are on Instagram, if you want to go follow Mona, I hope I can invite them to follow you. It's
Sure.
what is
Sure.
it?
Yeah.
It's at the Hiking Librarian, correct?
The hiking librarian. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And these in there, is it just Hiking Librarian?
The is in there. I believe it is. Oh, don't confuse me. Hold on. Let me see. I think it is.
So I
Pretty
put it,
sure.
yeah, I put it right there. So if you want to go follow
Yeah.
her on Instagram, I am just amazed. It's like watching HGTV if you really like that,
Mm.
and National Geographic and everything all combined. But yeah,
I always have a project going of some kind. You know,
you
I
do.
have to stay busy.
You do. So that's it for us today. Mona, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Sandy. I loved it.
Okay, guys, I really appreciate that's today's Community Spotlight. If you are interested in learning more about a Vipkid and either the program that incorporates teaching to rural China, or if you want to talk about and see their upcoming collaboration here in the United States, use the link in the comments section to learn more about that. You do have to have a college degree and at least 1 year working with children. So if you're interested, I want to say thank you to Tri-County Publishing for sponsoring today's Community Spotlight. If you're interested in sponsoring an upcoming Community Spotlight, you can contact Joel Washburn at the Mckenzie banner. Don't forget to share this video and let everyone know about it. We want to spread all of these spotlights out to the community. That's part of what the Mckenzie banner does and news media does in general. You can join me again next week for another Community Spotlight. Stay tuned to our Facebook page for more information on who that will be and the exact time and date. From all of us here at the Mckenzie banner, I want to say thank you and have a great rest of the day.